What is going on, everybody? Welcome to today's video. So today's actually going to be like a bit counterproductive, counterintuitive, I don't know. It kind of seems like the wrong thing to do. The car is extremely close to being done, and then I can like flow coat it, which is basically like the final clear, and super close. Just have to do the trunk and the roof. But like I said in the other video, I have this spoiler. It's off of just a regular S15, not the Varietta. It's kind of like a dmax style, but then also like way bigger. I don't know. Yeah, so what I'm gonna do is try and make that fit this thing. The only issue is, well, there's a lot of issues, but main thing, the trunk on the Varietta is huge and it's really deep, whereas normally on the coupe S15, like any other S15, spec R, spec S, whatever, the quarter panels come like all the way up to here, and then basically the trunk is just like a flat top, and then whatever, like a dmax spoiler would sit on the trunk and then basically overhang the quarter panels. Whereas this, the trunk comes all the way over here and it's giant, right? It's got like this much area. If you look at the back of this spoiler, you can see like this edge right here, and then kind of this shape on both sides. That edge is supposed to line up with this here, and then the shape on each side was around the taillights. But I'll throw it on there real quick. But yeah, as you can see, it's way up here. So like this much, which makes sense to me. Like this trunk is just way too thick. I don't know if this is gonna work. I don't even know if I can really use this, but I'm definitely gonna find out. So right now, like as it sits, it's basically resting all on like this inner part right here. So my idea is basically cut this all out and then, I don't know, kind of like leave like 3/4 or like half an inch or whatever, just like a little lip around here, and see if it'll at least sit down a little bit farther, sit a little bit better. And then basically, I don't know what I'm gonna have to do, but I might have to cut like all of this out and then actually like kind of shrink the overall like profile of it. I don't know, because it is kind of tall and it's got this weird extra body line that like I don't think a D-Max has that. But anyways, I want to get it to sit flat on the trunk, not kicked up, kind of like it does now. You can kind of see like from here, I mean, I don't know, it still looks good, I guess, but it's like really kicked up. It's almost like a ducktail, which sucks. It's not what I want for this. So hopefully I can just cut that center part out, get it to sit down. I don't know if I'll be able to like bring this edge all the way down to that, but I mean, if we get close, then I could either make it work or just kind of leave it and say good enough. Basically these areas here, I'm thinking I'm gonna have to like basically trim like the profile of that, and possibly even, you know, the whole top of the trunk into this. So we might end up just having like from here to here, which is fine. And then this will basically have like a triangle shape from here cut into it. It's really hard to explain, and I don't know if it's gonna work, but we're gonna find out very shortly. I'm just gonna get into it. I'm just gonna start cutting this thing. Really hope that it works. And then I don't know, if not, I guess I'll throw it on the BMW, which, side note, I got a bunch of parts for the BMW and they're not great, but they were pretty cheap and I don't really care what it looks like. So this is obviously gonna be much better than what's on there. The fenders are not cut wide open. The hood, actually, I completely forgot. This is a facelift front end, which is like cool, I guess, if you're into BMWs and stuff. So I ended up scoring a whole entire facelift front end with a little bit of rust for like 300 bucks. Got the headlights, got the corner lights, got the bumper, got the both fenders and the hood. And yeah, I just gotta kind of make it all fit because whatever, the tubular front end, but that's another story. This is what we're gonna do now. I'm gonna get into it and just start cutting stuff, and I don't know, hopefully it works. Yeah, so this kind of seems like the wrong thing to do, and I kind of feel bad about it because like the car is so close to being like done. But my thought process basically behind that is that I'm gonna have to like test fit this to the car and possibly make a new basically like base for this. And the only way to do that is obviously to do it on the car. So I don't want the whole trunk and like area around it to be final clear, final everything. That way if something happens, I can, you know, possibly go back and just fix it and not have to worry about redoing it all over again. Like right now it still has to be sanded and re-cleared, so there's a little bit of leeway there. We'll see if we can get it to fit at all or not at all or what. Well, there's no turning back now. I cut this out and it really did make a difference. And so now what I'm gonna do is basically cut all the way along here and then out to here. Basically just cut the whole inner out and just see if I can just like rest the outer skin somewhat around here. And then hopefully that's at least close. Then I can start basically trying to figure out what I'm gonna have to do up here to basically kind of sink that into like this shape on both sides, and then also across the trunk. It's gonna be a lot of work, but I still don't even know if it's gonna work. We'll see. Okay, did that. It's a little bit closer, but you can see it's like still up. I think what I'm gonna start doing, I've got it kind of marked roughly here to kind of like sit down over top of this on both sides. And then also the trunk itself is curved, so I've got it marked basically in the center. And then what I'm gonna do is I'll run tape, just a nice big round kind of swoop along here. Take some of that material off. Hopefully that'll let it drop down a little bit. And then I'm gonna do like a little bit at a time. And if that works, I'm gonna keep going, I guess. But if that doesn't work, it doesn't look like it's gonna work, I'm just gonna basically scrap this thing and just not use it, because I don't know. A little disappointed. I thought it would honestly fit a little bit better than this already, and it's not. But I don't know. I guess it's junk now, so I might as well at least go all the way. I don't know. I'm gonna cut these out, and then that's really gonna be no turning back. Cut those out, cut the little shape curve out of it. See if we can get it to go down at all. And then, yeah, we'll pick it back up. So I did that, cut these little shapes out and basically chopped the front of it off. It's not great at all. It still sits up way too high. Like up here, it fits really good now. But still super far away down here. So in order to get it even remotely close to that, I don't think it's gonna work, but we're gonna try, because I've already cut the crap out of it. So now I'm basically going to cut right on that like extra little ridge. And it gives it like extra height, so I'm gonna try and get rid of that. Hopefully that'll push it down a little bit, and then maybe I can cut this shape back out like even further back here or something, I don't know. So this is basically like as far as I'm gonna go with it, and what I did was made a nice edge all the way across, so that way at least it looks like a spoiler still. And if I decide to, I can maybe put this on the BMW or something like that. I'll just continue this line off here, and then whatever, it doesn't have to be great because it's a drift car anyway, but I want to put it on this car like a lot because it looks good. But anyways, I'm gonna cut that, see if it sits any better. Really thinking that it's just not going to, but gotta try. Came this far. Okay, I think I would call this progress of some kind. So I cut that off, right? Completely off. Now, just like before, it's hitting on these like triangular points. So I'm gonna cut those out, get it to sit down a little bit, and also I have to go like way out here because if you look at the side profile here, this is like really round, and it's gonna protrude from here basically down to the corner around it. So I basically want to try and get that shape, match it, so it looks like this is basically like sunken into that, or vice versa, whatever. This actually looks like a dmax spoiler now, where it's just off the back of the trunk. This is sick. I love this so much. And I think worst case scenario, I cut these out, which is fine. I'm gonna do that regardless, but I cut these out, get the spoiler to actually sit flush down onto the trunk a little bit. And then I might grind this edge back, because clearly it's never gonna meet that edge. It's just a different shape because the trunk is completely different. It's at a different height on like the tail light basically. So that's never gonna fit, that's whatever. And this, I think I can live with, honestly, because once this is, flush and basically continued out here, that won't look out of place. It just looks weird now because you know that it's supposed to be down farther. But if I left that like that, you would never see it. I don't know, I love it. I think it's sick. I just have to get it to sit down a little bit farther, and I'll be happy, I think. Then the actual hard part comes, and I have to make a fiberglass base for this. I didn't want to buy fiberglass resin and all that stuff until I knew this was gonna work. So I'm gonna get this thing as close as I can get it. And then I guess I'm gonna continue sanding the car. I'll probably put the roof up, get the roof sanded, get that side, all the edges and everything done. And then I guess, I don't know, next week sometime, get back on this before I do the trunk. So yeah, this is gonna push things back quite a bit because I still have to make a piece to fit to that, bodywork the whole thing. Yeah, the whole thing. So anyways, I'm gonna cut that out, hopefully get it to fit down nicer, and we'll go from there. Well, this, I don't know, it's kind of worked. I may have miscalculated my cuts. They're both like that. But, I mean, it's touching here. It's touching all the way across now, so that's good. This is good. It actually, you know, clears the quarter on both sides. I was a little bit worried about that. I know it's the exact same car, but the quarters are different, so I just didn't know if it was gonna be, I don't know. I think it looks sick. I wish that I had the proper wheel on here, but it's chilling over there because, I don't know, it's leaking, and one day I came in and the bead was just totally broken, so I have to get that fixed. But anyways, I think it looks sick. I love it. This is exactly what I was kind of picturing for this car. There is like a super made, I don't know if it was like a demo car or whatever, like back in the 2000s, early 2000s. It basically has this, maybe I'll try and put a picture of it, but it basically kind of has a style just like this. I think it's a bit like taller though. I think it like sits up on top. But I really like this. I like how it's, you know, let's see if I get back here. It's flowing with the car pretty good. I think that looks so sick. Just imagine it, you know, painted and stuff. God, there's so much work to do though. So now I think that this is gonna work. Basically my plan from this point is I have to do a little bit of trimming here because it's touching pretty good there. So I'm just gonna trim that back. It'll fit a little bit better, but then I really can't do much until I get fiberglass resin and mat and basically make a base for this. It is next week now. I got some, you know, resin and stuff. So basically I've got it set up somewhat. I decided to put a sheet up because I don't really feel like getting, you know, fiberglass grinding dust everywhere because it's the worst thing ever. What I'm gonna do is, what I've already done is put plastic over the trunk, right? So I've got it over there like pretty tight, and then like pulled it down to the floor. This is basically gonna act as like a barrier between the fiberglass resin and like the matting and stuff that I put on top of it. And then I should be able to pop it off that fairly easy, but like I said, I've done this before. I actually had like a Civic and I made a spoiler for it. I did the same thing, put this like 3M like painter's plastic over it. And for some reason, there's actually some kind of like, I don't know, like chemical reaction, whatever. A little bit of residue of the resin itself actually got through the plastic. It didn't like melt through, it just like ended up on the other side somehow. I don't know. So I think what my plan is for this, because I obviously don't want that to happen, I'm gonna cover, you know, like from here all the way down to like here, whatever, in masking tape. So that'll be like an extra barrier, and then the fiberglass will pop off of that way easier than it would to the plastic because it's got like the waxy back. So basically what I'm trying to do is just make the base of what the spoiler is gonna attach to. So pretty much just like this rear area here is what I'm gonna be laying today. And then we'll stick the spoiler on it once it's dry and basically trace out the outline that we need. And then I'll pop it off, cut that out, and then we should be able to like bond it to the actual spoiler and then kind of have like a spoiler and see what we need to do from there. So yeah, I'm just gonna get into it and do that. My main concern with this is right now the plastic is like kind of, you know, down in there really nicely in here. I'm kind of worried that when I put the tape across it, it's gonna like lift that up and kind of go like that. So I don't know, we'll see how this is gonna work. I've never done it like this with the plastic and the tape, but in theory, this is how I want to do it, so we'll see what happens. So this seemed to actually, you know, kind of work. It's staying pretty close to tight. I think once I start actually like laying the resin down and then putting the mat over it, it'll actually like stick better like to it. But what I did, I just threw the spoiler up there and basically made like a rough outline of, you know, where I have to go. Obviously, I'm gonna go way past that. So I think what I'm gonna do now is actually just put some paper around this thing. I'm super nervous about the resin getting through the plastic. So I'm just gonna lay some paper, you know, over the side, maybe like all the way around the back, and then maybe even up top. Might as well, right? It can't hurt. Cut out some shapes in the mat, and then we'll start mixing up the resin, and then we can start slapping it on there, and hopefully it goes well. I got my pieces all cut out. It is like quite a curve at the back, so we're gonna make the middle, you know, straight section basically one piece, and then each corner another piece. I'm gonna do 3 layers, and basically I'll just do one, and then slap the other layer on and just go that way. It came out pretty good. It's already starting to like, you know, heat up, and it's already hard. So I'm gonna let this sit all night. I think it's like okay in here. It seems to be, you know, tight, but I mean, we won't know until we take it off, and then also we won't know if it got through and damaged anything until we take all this off. But I think what I want to do is try and just stick that spoiler on there just to get an idea of basically what we're working with. So I'm gonna do that real quick, and we'll just take a look at it. And I basically just sat the spoiler on there just to see what we're working with. And obviously like nothing really changed, which is good. So it's still nice and, you know, good back there. That's could be attached pretty easily. Same with up here. I think tomorrow what I'll do, grind, which sounds like an awful idea, but there's 3 layers of fiberglass. It's pretty thick, so I want to grind, rough all this up, basically around where the spoiler is going to go, and then place this back on here and basically like tape it so it doesn't move like to all of this. Just leave this here, and then what I'm going to try and do, because these corners need to be like bent down a little bit to basically, I don't know, something like that. So I'm gonna grind like this whole edge up as well. Then tape this, you know, maybe not touching, but like really close to that. Then I'll lay more mat over here, basically to bridge that gap. On both sides I'll do that. Then that way, this is kind of one with that. And then I can basically, you know, go from there. That's the hard part, is getting that corner to fit and basically be, you know, tight with that, and then clear the quarter panel, you know, fit the trunk, all that. Well, I might even just do this whole top edge, but it depends where I gotta have the tape, right? So if I have the tape, you know, holding the spoiler on here, I'm not gonna be able to, you know, fiberglass all of this, obviously. So I might just do the ends one night, then take the tape off the next night, then the fiberglass will hold it. Then I can come over here and, you know, grind all this up, make this all one piece. Then I can come and do basically like the underneath part, and then I'll pop it right off, take it off, and start cleaning it up. And then basically all I should have to do after that is just fill in these openings, which is like the old, you know, taillight opening type thing, but it sits differently on this car, so I don't think it'll be an issue, but that will be a little while away yet. So once the main body of the spoiler is built and I'm happy with it, then I'll move on to that. So I think I'm just gonna call that good for this video. Hopefully underneath that is fine and we didn't damage anything. I think it'll be okay, but. So basically the next video is gonna be doing exactly what I just said, and then hopefully we'll be able to have like a complete, you know, spoiler in the next video, and then doing the actual body work of the spoiler, because I'm gonna have to body work, you know, basically this whole section, and then like underneath, and then basically the whole edge where I join the 2 pieces is gonna have to be body worked as well. But that's why I wanted to start like with something, because like 80% of the whole thing is like built, so I don't have to body work that. I can just like block it, straighten it out, whatever, and then I'm gonna prime the whole thing. So that's good. I think this is actually working out quite well. Really happy with how it's looking on the car, actually. Pretty excited. So then once that's done, we can finally get back on just finishing sanding the last few things that have to be sanded, and then final clear of the car, then get on all that stuff, block all that stuff out, final clear that, then we can start assembling the car. So this spoiler that I decided to do kind of sucks, you know, timeline wise, because it's just more time, but I think it'll be worth it in the end. And yeah, I don't know, I'm stoked. I think it looks good. So hope you enjoyed the video. This is kind of cool, building stuff. I like doing this. If you want to give it a thumbs up, that's cool. Or if you want to comment, maybe some questions. Let me know what you think of the spoiler, because you know, we got it fitting pretty good, and we got to kind of see like how it's actually going to look with a little bit of, you know, imagination in there. So you guys aren't subscribed yet and you want to do that, that'd be cool. I appreciate that, but I mean, not a big deal if you don't. And yeah, that's gonna do it for this one. And I will see you in the next one.